So you're an ally and you want to talk to one of your black friends about race or the BLM movement. First of all, that's awesome because I believe conversation is the way we breed understanding. There's a couple tips that I do want to give people because I've been hearing about some of these conversations and they have not been going well. The first thing is to listen. Number one tip is to listen. Number two is to be quiet. They go together. If you're talking more than you're listening, if you're talking even half as much as you're listening, the conversation is not going well because you are the person who is non-black. So you really want to listen. State your goal. State why you want to listen, why you're having a conversation. You could say to a person, I really would love to talk to you because I'm trying to learn more so I can be a better ally. Or I really didn't understand certain things that I've heard on the news. Can you help me understand? So explain your goal of having the conversation. 3, resist the urge to defend yourself. It is understandable that you hear about race issues and you feel some kind of way. You feel sympathy, you feel empathy, you feel guilt, you feel sorrow, but you don't defend yourself. I find a lot of people want to say that not all white people are like that, or I'm not like that, or I would never do that. It's not about you. And that's what you'll have to remember, that this conversation is not about you. If you're truly being an ally, if you truly care, it's not about you to defend yourself. Next, understand that you're not the expert. A lot of people have complained that when they're talking to their white friends, white allies, that people want to be an expert on the field and in the field, and you can't know blackness more than a black person. Regardless of how smart you are, even if you have a PhD in African American studies, you can't know the black experience as well as that person who is talking to you, at least their black experience. So that goes back to listening. Next, stop trying to relate. Oftentimes people will say, and this, is in a lot of circumstances, we try to make connections and say, oh, I know how you feel. People are offended, honestly, when you in some way overshadow their experience by saying, oh yes, I know one time I was treated poorly because I'm a woman, or I was treated poorly because I'm gay. At that moment when you're having that conversation, people don't want you to try to make connections because that experience of being black is specific and unique to them. So recognize that. Ask questions. Again, you're not sounding like an expert. You want to learn, come from a place of curiosity when you're having these conversations. And that goes on to the next tip. Be open. Be open that you may feel uncomfortable. Be open that you may learn things you don't want to learn. Be open to changing. Be open to learning. That is why you're having the conversation. If you're not open, if honestly you're going with the intention of explaining yourself or being the expert, then it's not time to have the conversation. You should see it, and this is a final tip, as an opportunity to learn if you're having that conversation. And understand, as a final tip, if you're having the conversation, it's because someone has welcomed you into something that is uncomfortable for them, that is probably painful in some ways for them to talk about. So see it as a gift and see it as a way that you guys can connect. And also don't expect it. People don't have to share if they don't want to. So you ask. And if you're granted the permission, it's okay. But if you're not granted permission for that conversation, that's okay too. Give people the ability and the room to say no. This is Randy B with a couple tips to help your conversations go better, because I always think it's time for a conversation. Check you next time.